Yes, Roman.
Hello, Wayne.
Hello.
I have a question about perspective and the false sense of authorship. Because the topic came up, I was pondering, maybe I have to explain my question.
Okay.
It is the thinking when we start the investigation, we are identified with everything that is happening. We are identified with the body, with our thoughts, with our emotions. And then we realize by changing perspective, oh, I might not be the controller of this body or my thinking or emotions. And so you refine your perspective and in the end, it leads to a perspective of, let's say, the observer, where you are devoid of any qualities and just observing what's happening. But that's also just a perspective. I think you called it the thief dressed as a policeman once. It is so the life without a false sense of authorship is not a life of a special perspective. Am I right with that? Meaning there is no perspective whatsoever who is ultimately true, and every perspective, even refined ones, can be tainted by the false sense of authorship. I am the observer. I'm the independent observer of everything that happens. Then I'm very refined, but I'm still identified. So the search in all of that, I hear it also in the questions, we're all looking for the perfect perspective within the maze, basically. And that is utterly useless, isn't it? Do I understand that right?
Well, the conclusion that it's useless, I don't know, but
Okay.
It is certainly what you are identifying is absolutely correct. That all of these different perspectives, from the most quote non-identified perspective to the most identified perspective, are all perspectives within the phenomenal realm. Yeah, and generally they move. Our perspectives move around. And so in the way that a camera goes in and out of focus on things, it'll focus on this, it'll focus on that. The perspective changes as things move around. So it's not fixed, you see. And I would say that, I mean, that is just the phenomenon of the perceiving apparatus of the body-mind mechanism, with the name of Wayne or Roman, that has a perspective in a given moment through which it perceives.
Yeah, and there's a hunting for perspective even, I notice in myself. It is not, it's not neutral. I'm not neutral to those perspectives. I always try to gain whatever, but that is always informed. So it's all.
I would say the way we can summarize this perhaps is that there is no enlightened perspective.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, very good. So it's beyond whatever.
Truly. I mean, what we're pointing at is beyond the perspective. Any perspective, even the so-called unified perspective, or the perspective of the non-identified perspective, which happens periodically.
Yeah, yeah. 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 Okay, so I could relax if I could control it.
If you can, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I'm just curious about the previous conversation that you had. You said there is no enlightened perspective. But wouldn't that be the enlightened perspective?
You can give it that name if you like, but it is not what the teaching is pointing to.
You can't even have that as being the perspective, that there are no perspectives that are ultimate. They're all relative.
That's a pointer or a concept.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.